What's going on, everyone? It's Sean Mitchell, Denver real estate agent with Co-Listings, and this is your April 2020 Denver real estate market update and fresh numbers out from the month of March, as it is a new month now. And I was really curious to see how much the coronavirus impacted the real estate market locally. So I want to dive into that. Take some of your questions as well. I'll try and breeze through some of the data. You can always pause the video if you want and look at the charts. But I want to get to your questions as well, because those are the things that people are thinking about and are top of mind to you. So let's go ahead and jump in. For this market update, we're going to cover days on market, months of housing inventory, number of new listings, sales price, mortgage rates, Denver unemployment rate, as well as your questions as I mentioned before. So first off is median days on market, 6 days, and that's a 45% drop month over month and a 33% drop year over year. So basically that means that it's taking less time to sell a house than it was last month, as well as a year to date. Now, if we take a look at the chart here, obviously there's no impact from the coronavirus on how long it's taking to sell a house as of right now. I think that will change, and I'll probably get into that here in just a moment. Months of housing inventory, we're sitting at 1 month, which is a 0% change month over month, but a 50% drop year over year. The reality is we've been sitting between 1 and 2 months of inventory for quite a long time, actually since 2014 or 2013 or so. Number of new listings, 3,583. That is a 36% increase month over month as well. Year over year is a 35% increase. So again, we're seeing positive trending. It's as if the coronavirus didn't exist, but I suspect that come next month, we should see some changes to number of new listings. I actually think it's going to drop a little bit. Median sale price sitting at $480,555, and that is a 3% increase month over month and just under a 9% increase year over year. So everything looks normal. Everything does look normal, but I think we're starting to see things trend at the ground level here. Less homes being put on the market, less houses going under contract. I suspect that April's numbers will change the sale price as well. What about mortgage rates? They've been quite a bit manic lately. They've been going up and then going down, but for 30-year fixed, at the moment it's sitting at 3.33, the 15-year fixed 2.82, and then the 5/1 adjustable 3.4. And here's what I mean. Over on the right-hand side there, you can see that it's gone down and then up and then it's back down again. So certainly important to keep an eye out. And if you're in that process of either starting to buy or currently under contract with a house, just make sure you're in constant contact with your lender to make sure you're getting the best rate possible. What about the unemployment rate here? The unemployment numbers have not been updated for Colorado or for the nation, so I don't have any new information here to update you on. Here's a graphical look at how things were in January. Denver unemployment rate is one of the lowest in the country when factoring in January rates, but things are going to change, I think, here very quickly. So here's a screenshot from the Department of Labor here in Colorado, stating that more than 60,000 initial unemployment claims were filed in the month of March. And if you zoom into the text there, you see here they say, for historical reference, during the Great Recession, the week with the highest initial claims during 2010, with 7,749 claims the week ending January 9th. Today's release of initial claims is 8 times greater than the peak period during the recession. So we're talking about some serious numbers in terms of unemployment, certainly very concerning, and it appears to be that it's going to get worse before it actually gets better. So let's go ahead and dive into some Q&A from you all on the internet. First question comes from Greg. He asked, where do you see mortgage/refi rates going in the next 30 days, 60 days? What about fully contactless paper signing process? I'll answer your last question first, Greg. I think that the The electronic signing opportunities are going to increase. We've already seen this already with title companies giving buyers and sellers the opportunity to sign electronically as many documents as possible. There are still parts of the process that do need to be physically or wet signed, and that can be accomplished with a notary, and in some cases a mobile notary where they come to your house. But I do think that this is going to cause the real estate industry in the United States to innovate and change a little bit in making the closing process or the signing of the docs a little bit easier and more convenient for the consumer. In terms of mortgage and refi rates, I think that they're going to continue to stay really low. They may even go down from what they are right now. In fact, I would not be surprised if that happens. But I would encourage you to contact your mortgage professional, your lending company, and have them keep an eye on this for you, and have them let you know when a best time to refinance is. Question from Eli. What's up, Eli? Good to hear from you. How is COVID affecting things today, and what is your fallout predictions? As I mentioned in my last market update video, though we have had a little bit more development, we're still seeing the coronavirus cases and deaths increase, and we still see these mandates and orders to stay at home. And so I think until we can resolve or resume some sort of normalcy in our schedules, go back to work, make it a staggered schedule, increase the ability to get out and do things, I think that we'll continue to see a negative impact on the real estate market. How deep will this cut? I'm not sure, but some people are saying that we may get back to somewhat of a normal schedule or the beginnings of a normal schedule in May. So fingers crossed, because if we can do that, I think that it's going to lessen the blow, certainly for the real estate industry. But the ultimate thing, I think, is a stable economy and jobs. We can't have people losing jobs and trying to buy houses. It's just not the way that it works unless you've got cash, but most people finance. Next question is, how much has price appreciated since 2011, 2012, and how far down do you think these prices will retract to? Well, if we go back to the average and median sale price for the Denver metro area, you can see just exactly how far we've come. Now, I don't have 2011 data on here, but you can get an idea what it used to be like way back in 2013. And you see things sitting around between $250,000 and $315,000, depending on what you're looking at with median and average. And now we're sitting at over $500,000 for the average sale price. So we've seen it come a long way. How far will it drop? Again, it really depends on how long the coronavirus is going to keep people from their everyday lives, from going back to work, from finding jobs, and so on. So depending on how long this lasts, fingers crossed, hopefully we can resolve some sort of normalcy as quickly as possible, thus lessening the blow that this has on the real estate market and home values. But your guess is as good as mine here. Maybe I'll have a little bit better idea once people start to get back to somewhat of normal schedules. John from Tesla Owners Silicon Valley asks, more general nationwide, should we expect housing prices to go down with COVID-19? Everything else is dropping, but I have not seen homes in the Bay drop. Yeah, this is a really good question, and we're all following this together to see how this may impact the real estate market. As I've said in previous videos and previous posts, if this is more of a longer term impact where people have to stay inside, where businesses cannot operate as normal, we're probably going to see some negative impacts on the real estate market. The real estate market is not as temperamental as the stock market, fortunately, but if things persist long enough, we will see some negative impact and negative push down on the real estate market. This really is directly tied to jobs in the economy. So if a lot of people are losing their jobs, there's probably going to be a lot of people who are relying on unemployment or savings, and they're not as interested in spending money. This is for the average consumer. What you do see in a down real estate market is the investors do tend to come out a little bit more. People who have been diligent about saving their money and about putting that money away, this may be a good time for them to buy some houses under market value at a really low price. So the buyer-seller market does tend to shift when the economy slows down. You don't see as much of a seller market, but certainly transitions to a buyer market, more inventory. Houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer, and buyers can find a little bit better deal. Next question is price reductions compared to last year, and what's the average reduction percentage? Well, as I mentioned in my previous slides, we really haven't seen the impact of the coronavirus on the Denver real estate market yet. Is it going to come? Yes, I really do believe so. I can see this sort of at the ground level where things are slowing down a little bit more. You're not seeing as many new listings on the market, and you're seeing some of these ancillary real estate businesses like inspections. I just had an inspection with a client yesterday, and the inspector said that he's seeing things cut 50%, so he's not going to as many home inspections. That means that people aren't going under contract as much. So I do believe this will impact the real estate market, but how much and how quickly, it's yet to be determined. I do expect for April's numbers to see a drop in many areas. Roger asks, are houses still selling? Yes, they are still selling as of right now. I think, Roger, you just sold your house, and I think you couldn't have had better timing, in my opinion. You put that on the market and got under contract in a really reasonable time. So I'm really, really happy for you that you were able to sell your house quickly. If you would have waited another month, I think you may have gotten caught up in all of the slowdown that we're beginning to see. So yeah, they're still selling. We may see a little bit slower timeline for things to sell and go under contract, but as of right this moment, they are selling. Barbara asks, with money being a bit tight, I wonder how COVID is impacting the negotiation process. Are things swinging in favor of buyers or sellers? I think you're starting to see a little bit better leverage for the buyer, especially right now when you had a lot of people who had already planned to put their house on the market before things got a little bit crazy locally. And so you have these sellers who either are faced with the option to remove it from the market or sell it. But if they've already made plans to buy another house or gone under contract with another house, they may be more likely to concede on price when they've got to sell their current place. John asks, how bad does the future look? Well, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better, unfortunately. But in terms of when it does get better or when we start to see some things improve, your guess is as good as mine. I'm keeping a very close eye on things. As I mentioned before previously in this video, I think a really strong indicator is going to be when people can get back to work, when people can sort of resume their normal schedules. I'm hoping that this is a good indicator that things are starting to normalize a little bit, but until then, there's just a lot up in the air, a lot of uncertainty, and my best advice to you is just to hang tight, try not to spend too much, make sure you've got a good cushion for savings, and if you don't have to sell right now, probably don't sell. But I understand that some people do have to buy and sell, and so it does happen, and there is inventory out there, especially if you know the right people in the right areas to find the right homes that could potentially be off market, but with sellers willing to sell. So that wraps up this real estate market update video. What are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear how the coronavirus is impacting you directly, as well as the people that are closest to you. Sound off in the comments down below. Sean Mitchell, Denver real estate agent with Co Listings. I'll catch everyone on the next video.